Kingdom Hearts VCast is not canon. In fact, it's one of the only pieces of media to be explicitly labeled as non-canon by the series creator. But we all know that's just a front, right? Sure, it might have been made without Nomura's knowledge or consent by a different team halfway across the globe, but what if he's just playing the long game? It's time to wake up, everyone, and embrace the truth. Don't believe the lies fed to you by Big Nomura. Kingdom Hearts VCast is canon, and it's coming back in a major way. So sit back, relax, and open yourself to the new reality of Kingdom Hearts. To prove the truth behind Kingdom Hearts VCast, we'll first have to figure out how it fits into the KH timeline. Our first clue is Sora's outfit. He's wearing his classic Destiny Islands attire, so this has to take place sometime before he wakes up in Kingdom Hearts 2. Sure, he's still in his original outfit for the first hour of KH2, but I doubt he's sneaking an entire off-screen adventure on the train ride from Twilight Town to Yensid's fashion boutique. Sometime before KH2 is still a pretty big range, but we can narrow it down further thanks to Sora's habit of making friends out of marketable Disney characters. When he steps foot in Agrabah, he says, "Cool, back in Agrabah, wish I had time to see Aladdin." Sora already knows Aladdin, so we're at least in the second circuit of KH1 Disney Worlds, probably later. This is corroborated by the opening text in Swashbuckler's Island. To quote, "It happened on the way back from the edge of the universe. It's a long ride, even on a gummy ship." So by this point, Sora already has access to the gummy ship, and I don't think anything in the first half of the world map could really be called the edge of the universe. Still, we can do better. As everyone knows, the main antagonist of KH VCast is Maleficent. From the end of the first Hollow Bastion visit to the start of KH2, Maleficent is frolicking in a mobile game that's somehow less playable than VCast, so this places a hard endpoint on our timeline. She can't exactly plunge Sora into his own nightmares if she's been skewered. Now, does this pre-HB placement fit with the story of Kingdom Hearts VCast? Why, yes it does. The opening establishes that Sora, Donald, and Goofy are traveling back from deep in gummy space when Sora's dreams begin to spiral out of control due to Maleficent's dark influence. Since Sora is in the gummy ship and wearing his KH1 outfit, the late game of KH1 seems like a perfect fit. And since the whole game takes place in Sora's corrupted dreams, we can explain away the fact that Swashbuckler's Island isn't on our world's map and that no one ever mentions the adventure again. A perfect solution. Except, well, there are a few problems. We note that this takes place after Sora visits Agrabah since he remembers Aladdin, but then why don't he and Genie recognize each other? And we can't claim that Sora hasn't finished the Agrabah story yet, since he clearly recognizes Maleficent and he doesn't see her until he seals Agrabah's keyhole. And Gemini implies that this isn't the first time that Sora has saved the worlds from the Heartless, but that would place us after the ending of KH1, which would be impossible because Maleficent would be gone and Sora wouldn't have the gummy ship. And when you think about it, this whole game taking place in the dream world doesn't really make sense. Wonderland and Agrabah certainly aren't sleeping worlds after KH1, since we visit them in KH2 in days, and sealing their keyholes in VCast raises more questions still. Even if we explain away the worlds, we have a bigger issue, the Heartless. We know that the Heartless can't enter the Dream Realm, so what are they doing in Sora's nightmare? And that's only the tip of this titanic iceberg. This plot simply doesn't make sense. Could it be that this game simply doesn't fit into the timeline? That it was never meant to be compatible with the main Kingdom Hearts lore? Of course not. Stop being so narrow-minded. Take nothing at face value. That which is explained is only one part of the puzzle. Dreams might be off the table, but what if the whole game takes place in Sora's memories? Think about it. When Sora is climbing Castle Oblivion, he remembers some of his friends from KH1, but forgets others completely. That explains why he mentions Aladdin but has no recollection of the genie. Naminé is messing with his memories. And Maleficent might be out of the picture by the time of Chain of Memories, but who do we see prancing around CO's endless white hallways? Memory Maleficent, of course. The worlds that Sora visits in Kingdom Hearts VCast aren't in his dreams, they're projections in Castle Oblivion. Heartless can't appear in dream worlds, but they infest every isometric inch of the memory worlds. Why does Sora have trouble recognizing the Heartless emblem at the altar? His memories are being siphoned by a little girl in a plain white dress. And consider this. Kingdom Hearts VCast is one of the only games where Sora has no party members. Much to Sora's surprise, Donald and Goofy are nowhere to be found when he wakes up on an island. Where else do the dog and duck mysteriously abandon Sora when he visits Disney Worlds? Castle Oblivion. This has some serious implications. To start, what's up with Swashbuckler's Island? The worlds from Castle Oblivion are built from Sora's memories, but I don't recall anything of the sort in KH1, and I doubt Roxas paid Kaw a visit in the first few weeks of his existence. As with everything else in Castle Oblivion, Swashbuckler's Island is a trick of the mind. It's all Naminé's doing. The scenery of the island was just Naminé flexing her creativity. If you're creating a fake world, you might as well have fun with some lava-filled caverns, creepy altars, and intriguing shipwrecks. But the landscape and puzzles are all distractions to keep Sora from thinking too closely about the island's true danger, Kaw. He leads Sora through the island, but that's just a cover. Kaw advises Sora to put together the magic gems, which triggers the start of Maleficent's curse. You really expect that someone who knows the island like the back of his wing wouldn't be aware of the trap at the obviously cursed altar? Kaw isn't careless, he's calculating. What does this have to do with Castle Oblivion? I'll spell it out for you. Kaw is Naminé, a feathery mouthpiece designed to guide and goad Sora deeper into the castle. Don't believe me? Just take a look at one of Kaw's final lines. You've forgotten something, haven't you? Kaw, or should I say Naminé, is practically taunting Sora with the truth behind the castle, and Sora blindly follows the bird's words further into oblivion. Kaw oh so conveniently gets separated from Sora in Wonderland, and the next time we see the feathered trickster is in Maleficent's castle. But that's not actually Kaw, it's Maleficent in disguise, the game tells us. We know better, though. The fact that Kaw is a projection of Naminé's subterfuge reveals a shattering fact about the mistress of all evil. In VCast, Maleficent is Naminé. There's no dark poison eating away at Sora, that's just a contrivance to keep Sora from realizing that Castle Oblivion is the thing draining his strength and mind. There is no heartless threat to all the worlds, that's just a decoy to keep Sora traveling deeper into the twisted memory. There is no happy ending, just a smokescreen of success to keep Sora occupied as Naminé takes him one step closer to Oblivion. Except, if this is Castle Oblivion, why isn't Sora using cards? How are we traveling from one world to the next without the interstitial CO landings? There's also the issue of fitting this in with Chain of Memories, since there aren't exactly many gaps in the narrative where this mysterious 14th floor adventure could fit in. But, wait. Retroactively inserting new journeys into Chain of Memories is an established part of Nomura's KH canon. Maybe this is just like that. Maybe we're not seeing Sora's memories as projected in Castle Oblivion, but inside Sora's mind. As everyone is aware, the Japanese flip phone app Kingdom Hearts Card Struggle Daifugo presents a new canon story that takes place after Chain of Memories. Essentially, Naminé is piecing together Sora's fragmented memories over and over again in different patterns, causing Sora to relive his past adventures in different forms. In KH Daifugo, it takes the form of a bunch of card battles. Maybe KH VCast is another one of those forms. If Sora's memories are being pieced together, it makes sense that his memory of people and places would be hit or miss. It also explains why the stories of Wonderland and Agrabah play out differently from KH1, and why no one ever brings up the events of the game in later titles. Even the presence of the Heartless is explained away by Naminé in KH Daifugo, who says that Sora's memories may form into things that he has to fight. Every step of Sora's VCast journey makes perfect sense when pictured as fractured shards of his first journey. He starts on a lonely island gathering supplies to build a raft. He travels to different worlds, sealing a keyhole at the end of each one. You might think that Maleficent's castle is a problem. Sora never visited Enchanted Dominion, yet here it is in his memories. But Sora did visit the end of the world, which housed the ruins of Maleficent's homeworld. That imagery, combined with the hazy notion that Maleficent was the ruler of a castle, conjured Maleficent's castle in Sora's mind. Swashbuckler's Island? That's a combination of Destiny Islands and the pirate motifs of Neverland. The lava cave is probably the result of a fragment of Sora's escape from the Cave of Wonders. Obstacle course? Well, that's just a training ground in the sky where Sora tests his strength. Remind you of anything? But then there's the caterpillar. Sora never met him in KH1 Wonderland, so how did he end up in his reconstructed memories? There is but one explanation: Roxas. At this point in the memory restoration, Roxas has been absorbed into Sora, and Naminé's work is nearing its end. Sora's memories are mixing with his nobodies, and Roxas met the caterpillar in Chapter 19 of the Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 manga. It's all connected. Except that doesn't explain Kaw, or the mummies in Agrabah, or Maleficent's goons, or Cobra Jafar. No matter how Naminé assembles the Sora jigsaw puzzle, there are some things in VCast that Sora simply shouldn't be remembering. Maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. These are Sora's memories, but who's to say that it's Sora who's remembering them? What if this is all from someone else's perspective? Ventus spent 12 years inside of Sora's heart. We know from the post-credit scene of Dream Drop Distance that Ventus's heart reacts to Sora's experiences, and in Kingdom Hearts 3, Ventus outright states that he remembers pieces of that missing decade. The story of Kingdom Hearts VCast isn't a rerun of KH1 at all, but the same adventure from Ventus's perspective. Think about it. Sora visits Hollow Bastion, the castle ruled by Maleficent, but Ventus's heart within him already has memories of a castle ruled by the evil sorceress. When the mind is asleep, the heart fills in the details, leading to the Maleficent's castle we see in-game. And unlike Sora, Ventus has memories of Maleficent's goons, explaining their presence in VCast. What about the other oddities like Cobra Jafar? Well, take a second to think about Ventus's past. Where else has Cobra Jafar appeared as a boss? In Union Cross, during Ventus's tenure as a Union leader. As Sora fights Genie Jafar, Ventus's heart fills in the most familiar experience. Remember how Sora didn't quite recognize the Heartless symbol at the altar? Look at the wording of his musings, then realize that Ven has only seen emblem Heartless in his forgotten past. Ancient symbols indeed. And Kaw? The fading memory of Chirithy trying desperately to reach out to Ventus's sleeping heart. Kaw is Chirithy. Now, one of the most important parts of Ven's character is that he is a pure light. In the final stretch of the game, what does Maleficent call Sora, or as we now know, Ventus's heart projecting itself as the Keyblade's hero? One who is pure of heart. It's all right there. Except, if this is Ventus's experiences of Sora's first adventure, where are the rest of the worlds? Ven's heart is already acquainted with Olympus Coliseum and Neverland, so it's not likely they'd be forgotten. More pressingly, surely Ven would have some sort of reaction to Sora's encounter with Ansem, given that Terra's heart is right there. But we see nothing of the sort in Kingdom Hearts VCast. So where does that leave us? The answer was right under our noses the whole time. We've been so focused on this era between KH1 and Chain of Memories that we've neglected a key entry in the series. We originally focused on that time period because of Sora's clothing, but there's another game where Sora dons his classic attire, Kingdom Hearts Coded. The entirety of VCast occurs within a data world. All of the strange scenery and lapses in memory are instantly explained. Coded's data Sora didn't have all the memories of the real Sora, and Coded's worlds didn't have the same layout as the KH1 originals, so why should the VCast datascape be any different? There are no bug blocks this time around, sure, but that's because there's no data nominee causing the glitches. There's also one detail that's been bugging me the whole time. In Kingdom Hearts VCast, why can Maleficent hold the Keyblade? It doesn't return to Sora, and she can even walk around the castle with it, as Goofy tells us. While we're at it, when did she get the ability to remove all the magic from the Keyblade? That seems unrealistic. Until we remember that we've seen this before. Maleficent destroyed Data Sora's Kingdom Key in much the same way. Everything is explained if the worlds of KH VCast are inside a datascape. Except, who made the datascape, and why? We can infer that the events of Coded are the first time datascape technology has been used in Disney Castle, and it seems unlikely that Mickey would return to any version of Data Sora after he wrote his letter to the Sora that matters. The same goes for Sid and the gang. Plus, anyone making this datascape would need intimate knowledge of the various Disney worlds, which is out of the picture. There's just no reality in which the plot of Kingdom Hearts VCast makes sense. So what if the plot simply takes place in unreality? We know so tantalizingly little about the other side of existence, but that it would draw strange parallels to Sora's known adventures is a plausible scenario. And everything starts to make even more sense if we ourselves take a step back from our usual reality. We've been so focused on the story of KH VCast that we've forgotten the game itself. The Masters of Masters describes unreality as a world that he can't even conceive. What is more inconceivable than the non-canon? A story that Nomura and the Kingdom Hearts team literally didn't conceive. As Ansem the Wise put it, a world of fiction. The Master goes on to call unreality a place where voices can't reach, a fact parroted by Memory Nort in Melody of Memory. A place where voices can't reach, or a game where sound can't be heard. What if it's not the auditory failings of a work-in-progress emulator, but part of a grander scheme woven over the course of decades? And the fact that VCast was considered lost media, does the phrase blank era ring any bells? The games destined never to see the light of day are those closest linked to unreality. No coincidence, I assure you. Don't be surprised when Kingdom Hearts 4 rolls around and you see Kaw perched on Fortune's gear, waiting for Sora to reclaim the lost past that was always meant to be. Behold, this is the truth behind Kingdom Hearts VCast that has been buried for 20 years. Except, well, just one final thing. While I struggle to find any faults in our logic so far, there is one last possibility, an even deeper truth that no one has dared consider. It's not unreality, it simply isn't real. Let me paint you a picture. The game opens with Jiminy Cricket narrating Sora's training. At the start of every level, it's Jiminy that provides the exposition. And in the final cutscene, who is it but Jiminy Cricket that closes the chapter on this lost adventure? That's the real secret truth of VCast. It's all a story. A wonderful tale woven by our favorite cricket. Jiminy might claim that it's based on a true story, but that's part of the artistry of the narrative. It's a fantasy inspired by Jiminy's real adventures, tales he's heard of the worlds, and some creative license. And when the final page of VCast is written and the volume returned to the shelf, it takes absolutely no assumptions or contrivances to fit it in with the broader Kingdom Hearts canon. It's all just a fable written by our cricket conscious to remind us about the true important things in life. Friends and laughter, hope and promise, blue skies and sunshine. That, my dear ladies, gentlemen, and friends outside and in between, that is the true canon story of Kingdom Hearts. Long live VCast.